Gobble gobble, Zesty boys, and welcome back to the Zesty podcast. My name, of course, is Turkey Shire, and we are here on the Thanksgiving episode, and I'm here with my lovely sister.
Hi, I'm Savannah.
And Savannah is joining me for this Thanksgiving episode of the Zesty podcast. We're so glad that you can join us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm thrilled to be here.
It's very important to be with family on such a special occasion, even though Thanksgiving is yesterday.
Yes.
And, yep.
It was great. We ate so much turkey.
We did eat turkey. I was in Florida,
gosh.
Unfortunately, so I didn't eat turkey with you.
Oh, well, I knew that because I was
you
here.
You did know that.
Yeah. We were here together doing.
Because we're filming this. It's like when you are hearing this, this is when we are filming
It's
this.
live currently.
It's a live show. That's what I'm
Yep.
saying. If you just send in questions, comments, or concerns, we'll read them live
We'll read
on the
them
podcast.
live right here.
Savannah will come to read them specifically for you.
Yep, I'll be here live. Any questions? I live like 20 minutes away, so.
Is it 20 minutes or is it like 30?
It's probably like 30 to
Yeah.
hear, but it doesn't feel like 30 minutes.
So you're a first grade teacher then?
I am. I'm
Yeah.
a first grade teacher.
And it's about 30 minutes for you to get to work then?
No, it's a little shorter. It's closer to go to work
Oh, really?
than it is to come here. Yeah, I can do it in 20 minutes. It's like my map will say 22 minutes, and then I get here in 20.
Why do you map it?
Well, when I get in my car, it connects to my Bluetooth, and then my map says 23 minutes to work.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Or like sometimes after school, it'll say like 15 minutes to the gym. Or like at one point, it would say like an hour and 10 minutes to Kelsey's house.
So if there's like a bad accident, will it take you a different way, like automatically? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but it's just like to let me know, like it's locations that I'm usually going to at that time.
Yeah. That's my thing is like once I know how to get to somewhere, why would I map it? But then like I'll get stuck in like traffic. It's like, man, if I would have mapped this, it would have not taken me straight into this traffic.
It wouldn't have, no.
It's the folly of man.
It is, but how are you supposed to know?
Exactly.
And then when the map takes you around, it's also taking all the other people that are mapping it around. So it just makes more traffic.
It does make more traffic.
It does.
And that's like for those of you who are familiar with Georgia roads, I always try to take
They're horrible.
try to take Highway 9 instead of 400, which is a parallel road, and it ends up taking longer because everyone thinks the exact same thing, and it's a 1-lane road versus a 3-lane road.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell me about about that noise.
What your coughing, groaning, throat clearing noise?
Tell me about what made you want to be a first grade teacher, Savannah.
Well, I have just like been around school. Like our mom was a teacher, and so we were just always in the classroom, and I just loved that part of it. Just the stuff that comes along with it. I just like stuff.
So you just like getting things?
I like the classroom stuff. I like school supplies. I like just all of the different like grading tests and worksheets and like.
You like grading tests?
Not anymore, but at the time.
At the time.
That was just like the coolest thing was to go over a test with like a red marker. And then I taught all those swim lessons that we taught together and I loved the little ones the most. And then when I was a freshman, I actually went in as a broadcasting major and was kind of getting to the point I was done with my core classes, was going to be getting into the like actual classes for the major and was really torn between broadcasting and because I wanted to be on the radio. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I was about to ask, like, what was your goal with doing broadcasting?
Really wanted to be on the radio. I don't know why, but I just really liked like the Burt Show and all that. Like it just
you want
sounded,
to be like a morning show host?
Yeah, like because I just like to talk and listen to music and pop culture. So I was like, that sounds great. But when I was doing I was picking classes and I thought, well, would I rather do the history of education or the history of journalism? And I picked the history of education and then just went from there.
Are you glad that you followed the path that you did?
Yeah, it was nice. Another thing too was I wanted to like graduate and pretty much be in the position that I was going to be in for a little while. I didn't want to have to like work my way up through anything.
Grind, yeah.
I didn't want the grind. I was done with the grind. So went for education and I love it most of the time.
One of my friends, Garrett Chapman, I don't know if he likes some of the podcast stuff. I don't know if he actually listens, but he is a very big sports guy, and he's also, I think he's on Star 94 or Q100 right now, like at 6 p.m. He does some kind of show, so his voice is actually on the radio now.
That's cool.
He's a very cool guy.
Yeah.
Garrett Chapman. Shout out Garrett Chapman.
Hey, Garrett.
Do you ever regret not continuing the broadcasting path?
Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Like, it's nice that I can wake up in the morning and go to a job where I've got like 24 little faces that just like are like, I love you so much. And whereas in the broadcasting, like, it'd be a lot more like cutthroat. I think,
for sure.
To just try and like,
because everyone wants the same job.
Yeah, like you would just never know, like, if people had your best intentions, like you would never know who to trust or who, like, what to do. And so, no, I guess I do for like the final outcome, but I'm glad, like, I'm happy where I'm at now that I'm like kind of settled.
And the final outcome was not guaranteed either.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm pretty happy where I'm at. Like, I'm getting my master's so that I can move around, but I think education's for sure like where I want to be.
What do you mean by move around?
Like, if I want to move into like still stay in the school but not be like a classroom teacher. So what I'd like to do right now, my plan is to be like a curriculum coach where I help the all the teachers in the school, like, make sure they're hitting the standards the right way, come up with assignments or like different things that they can do, like make sure that the kids are getting what they're supposed to be getting, if that makes sense.
Does each school have a curriculum coach?
I don't know.
Or is it like just
my school does.
Oh, so it's just kind of like some schools have them and it's just...
Yeah.
What's the pay bump like for one of those?
I have no idea.
Oh, really? So you're not doing it for the money then? You're doing it for the love of curriculum?
I'm doing it so I can still be like working with kids, but then it's like if you're having a day when you are just not really in the mood to be with them, then it's like you can kind of distance yourself a little bit. Because it's really like sometimes it's just like it's unfortunate because when you don't feel good, you're not giving them the same level of like patience and like respect as you normally would, so they can tell like when you don't feel good.
Yeah.
So that kind of is hard, but they the curriculum coaching would be like I could still do lessons with kids and I could still be in the classroom, but it just wouldn't be my classroom.
Okay.
And so it's another option that I'm considering, but my master's is in curriculum and instruction, so it's kind of why I picked that.
Your class is pretty hard thus far?
No, they haven't been too bad. It feels like a lot of busy work. Like, it's a lot of stuff that I like knew a little bit about, and so I'm just doing readings where I'm kind of like deepening that knowledge. And then just writing a lot.
I wonder if it just feels like that because you've already worked in a school and you're not just going from early childhood straight into your master's, and so it's like you've actually worked and so you've kind of seen a lot of this before.
A lot of it is easier to write about because I have the classroom experience, and then this major, like, or to have this degree, to be in the program, you have to be a current teacher because there's activities where we'll like write lessons and we have to talk about, applications to our school. But I forgot your question. Did you also forget your question? I
forgot my question too. I kind of just say things and space out.
That's
and
fine.
Just try to think of the next thing to say. That's usually how the show goes.
And also how my whole life has been with people.
Yeah.
I just keep talking and then I get tuned out.
I don't really know what Joey sounds like. I kind of stop. Like, I don't even. These aren't even plugged in. I just say things, and when his mouth stops moving, I say an unrelated thing.
Well.
So the big question that everyone wants to know is, why would you want to go back to working in a school versus doing anything else?
It's so different being there as a teacher than being there as a student. I mean, I'm doing a lot more work, but it's like I'm getting paid for it now, and I actually I have more fun than when I was a student. Well, it's elementary school too, so that's more fun anyway.
Yeah.
But like, they're my lessons that I've planned. I get to see the kids grow, and I get to see my favorite thing. Like, the main reason why I wanted to be a teacher is like the light bulb moment. Do you remember like when you would teach swim lessons, how they would just like, I can't float on my back, I can't float on my back, and then one day they do it and they're like, oh, I did it. Like, you kind of have that light bulb moment.
I mean, I'm sure that happened, but I just really didn't care. Like, I just wanted the money.
Well,
I was not about helping these children.
Well, I know, but even if you're not about helping them, like, you still notice. And so that...
Especially the kids who were not good enough to be in level 4 swimming, but their parents just kept wavering them up. And so it's like, you're supposed to be able to do flip turns now, and you're learning how to float on your back.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if you have your light bulb moment. You're way behind.
That's a little bit different, because I was with the preschoolers where it was like, can you blow me a bubble?
Yeah, they put me, like, they hated me at the aquatic center. They put me in, like, the shit. They didn't put me in the cool level where I could be out of the pool and basically a swim coach, which I was way more qualified than everyone who was
yes.
doing it, except for maybe one person. But there was like 3 people who were doing these lessons. They had me in like the highest
their
level.
Their entirety of their swim experience was from the WSI class.
They had me in the highest level where I still had to be in the water, where all the kids whose parents wavered them up who were not ready to be in that level all were just stuck for the rest of their swimming careers.
Yep.
And it was horrible.
Yeah.
And so I don't really like kids.
Oh, from that experience,
No.
or just like in general?
I mean, I say I don't like kids, but then like, kids are all right. Like,
yeah.
I didn't like kids then, but like there was once when we were working at the school this summer, and like one of the teachers was like doing like kind of like a summer daycare kind of thing.
Okay.
And me and Tommy just for like during our lunch break, we just ended up like playing soccer with the kids, and it was like, okay, I kind of feel like a camp counselor, and I feel like I could do that.
Yeah.
Where there's like an inherent level of respect, and like the kids like I feel like I could be a teacher now because it's like the kids are like, okay, this guy's in charge.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well now I know that I could scream and they get scared kind of thing, or like I could.
Yeah.
Like, if I say go to the corner, they'll go to the corner.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them might cuss at you and tell you to go away.
I'll cuss right back at them.
And then you don't have a job anymore.
Exactly. What's the closest you've ever come to losing your job while teaching?
I don't think come close to losing my job, but there are definitely times when like I get really frustrated and I go next door to my the teacher. We share a bathroom and I'll be like, Jackie, I'm going to the bathroom. Like, I need a minute. They're watching Wild Kratts. I'll be back. So that's like kind of when I'm at my wit's end with them. I'm like, we're going to watch Wild Kratts. This is it.
That's just like the Krat brothers from
It is.
Zubumufu.
But they're too old now, and so it's a cartoon.
So it's animated because they don't want to look weird.
Yeah, they're in the beginning as like themselves, and then it's animated, and then at the end it's them again. So like with the real animals, but then the whole thing is like the show, there's this one girl and she makes them creature power suits, and then so whatever animal, like if it's a gecko,
so they turn into geckos.
They can kind of turn into a gecko and figure out like the gecko life, and then they turn back.
And the kids learn from them.
They do. I have this one kid in my class who like probably knows more than like a zoologist because he's watched every episode of Wild Kratts, like every single one. Like we're doing this unit right now on animal studies, and I'll say something about a bear, and he'll raise his hand and be like, did you know that bears actually don't hibernate? They just go into a long sleep.
Shut up, Kevin.
And I'm like, how do you know that? Like, he's like, I've watched every episode of Wild Kratts. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay.
I remember you telling me that probably after a child told you that bears don't go into a sleep.
I actually told you that when we went and picked up my hutch for my kitchen.
Oh yes, how is the hutch?
It's good. I haven't painted it yet.
I noticed.
The
house is trashed.
I know.
This isn't a podcast. This
Listen.
is an intervention. You're a hoarder, Savannah.
I'm not a hoarder. It's not that bad. It's just been a rough couple of weeks at work, and then I work a second job too, and so it's like I come home and I'm so tired that I just can't clean.
You should just train Lola to clean.
I try. Every day I leave, I'm like, okay, here's your jobs. You're going to take out the trash, and you're going to paint this hutch, and you're going to vacuum the floors. And she looks at me like, can I have my pepperoni now?
And she's like, okay, and then goes and pees on the carpet, and then goes to bed.
She does. No, she doesn't pee on the carpet.
No, she's a good dog.
She's better than that.
She jumps, but...
She does, but I've got a squirt bottle now that I actually bought for the cat.
Jesus, I'm dying.
But you are dying. Drink some water.
Drink some water.
Get some water in your
ASMR.
system. Yeah, you just gotta lubricate your pipes.
Lubricated.
Lubricate. No more coughing.
Still coughing a little bit.
A little bit. It's okay.
I just inhaled water.
'Tis the season for coughing. Fa la 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 la.
Fa la la. I've had a not a gnarly cold. I just had a very big.
A gnarly cold.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that radio hosts say, so I wanted to say it. But I've had a very basic, uninteresting cold for.
Take some Zicam.
Some what?
Zicam.
What is that?
It's like basically like a vitamin C tablet, I think, but it's like you're supposed to take it when you notice that you're starting to get a cold, and then it is supposed to shorten the length of your cold.
Oh, well, that's nice. Yeah, I don't really take medicine. Like, if I get a headache, I'll take headache medicine. And if I, like, wake up and my throat hurts, I'll drink a bunch of NyQuil. And
you wake up and drink NyQuil?
Yeah.
Like in the morning?
It's actually a really bad idea if you didn't know. Like, once when I was, it was last semester, my last semester at college. I had a frisbee class at 9:30, but I, like, went to bed, and then, like, 4 a.m. I woke up, my throat hurt super bad, so I drank a bunch of NyQuil, and it was the worst morning of my life.
Oh yeah, I bet it was hard to wake up.
I was so tired. Like I
Yeah.
could not keep my eyes like open while I was riding my bike to class.
Oh God.
It was a miserable experience.
Yeah. Well, there were times I used to have to take medicine to sleep, and it would just like knock me out so hard that I wouldn't wake up to my alarm in the morning.
Really?
Like even if I got like a full like 10 hours of sleep, the next morning when my alarm would go off, I'd be like in a dream state
Yeah.
and think it was like a crying baby or something, and so I'd be like shh, and I'd turn it off. And then I wouldn't go to work, which is not good,
Not good
when
you're
you
a
have
teacher.
24 kids
What would
standing
they
at
do
your door.
when that happened?
The office would call me and be like, "Hi, where are you?" And luckily at the time I lived here, so I was like 7 minutes
Give me 5
away.
minutes.
Yeah, I was like, "I'll be there soon. Like, give me 15. I'm almost there." And
And now
then
you're a little farther.
now I'm farther, and that hasn't happened because I've been off my sleeping medicine. So I've
That's
been,
good.
yes,
You're off the wagon. Well, I guess on the wagon.
I'm back on the sleep wagon,
Back
the
on
natural sleep wagon.
Natural sleep wagon.
Yep,
It's
it's
a good
been
wagon
nice.
to be on.
It's been
I have
nice.
Z-Quil. It's actually Wall Z because I
Oh,
didn't want
yes.
to buy the real stuff 'cause it was cheaper at Walgreens.
Yep.
But like I only use it like I bought it for when I worked over the summer, and me and Tommy had to wake up at 5 a.m. And if it was like 10, I'm like, I cannot sleep. I would just drink some Z-Quil. And it didn't make me like groggy in the morning, which was nice. But
Yeah.
I think I've had one bottle for 8 months now.
Right.
So.
I think melatonin kind of does the same thing. Like it's supposed to just kind of, is it melatonin?
Yeah, melatonin, not melanin.
That's what I said it and I was like, is that the thing in your skin? No, melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people take it and it just sort of like mellows you out and like makes you sleep better.
Mm-hmm.
But I am nervous about that because I got really dependent on my sleeping medicine when I was on it. And then just kind of tapered myself off and didn't tell my doctors. And then I showed up one day. I was like, I don't take this anymore. And they were like, what? I was like, nope.
That was like the first thing I ever heard about someone I kind of knew being addicted to something. It was when it was like 7th or 8th grade health, and the like health teacher was like, yeah, you got to be careful with things, because like I didn't even realize it, but I got like addicted to like NyQuil because I like took it for a cold to go to sleep a few nights, and then like I just couldn't sleep without it, and I had to like wean myself off. I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. I didn't know you could get addicted to stuff like that.
It's not really addicted, it's more dependent.
Yeah, dependent.
Because it's not like I would like crave it, but it would be like my brain just like physically couldn't shut off then without having like medication to shut it off.
Is that the difference between addiction and dependence? Dependence, you need something to happen. Addiction, you crave something.
That's kind of how I would describe it. Yeah.
I feel like that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
Set in stone.
Concur. That's
I
it.
Concur.
Talk to Merriam-Webster. Put it in the
Was
dictionary.
that an actual person, or is
I
that like,
think
or is it like two last names, like Merriam and
I think his
Webster?
first name was Merriam.
Oh, really?
I think so.
He just knew words real well.
I guess so.
Yeah, that's. How do you start a dictionary? Like, did he pick the definitions of things, or is
I
it
don't
like,
know.
or was there like a bank that he had to go to like make like if I made my own dictionary, could I just make that like and means without?
I mean, no, you couldn't do that. I think it would be like he knew he knew just a lot of words. Like he was just a
learned man.
Yes, and said like, oh well, I know that this word power is whatever the definition of power is. Like
that's a good example.
I nailed it. But a cookie is like a baked dessert, and he knew what that was, and so he like felt confident enough to like write it down, and other people were like, yes, we agree with this.
But he still had some kind of creative freedom with that. Like, I'm sure there were words that people were like, but he's like, it's in here, and other people were like, well, it's in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder what.
Like they just trusted him on all like. They were like, yeah, he described a cookie perfectly, so like he must know what this other word
like when
means.
the word anomaly was not very popular, it's like, I don't know what that word means. Like, oh, it means something's weird. It's like, all right, Miriam.
Yeah, whatever.
You fucking weirdo. Go back to your word book.
Go back into your word book. Yeah.
I don't think he was probably a very popular person.
I mean, he was like super rich though, so
was he rich, or was
I
it
would
like,
think so.
or is
he
his
literally
like
has
company rich now?
I don't know.
Look up Merriam-Webster's net worth.
Okay.
So I Google people's net worth a lot these days to feel bad about myself. Because my net worth's probably something like $3,000, if that.
My net worth is garbage. It gave me the legal definition of net worth from the Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Damn you, Merriam.
It's a monopoly. Let's see.
Come on, Savannah. I can't stall for much longer.
I'm
crumbling
sorry.
under this pressure.
Well, maybe. Oh, Merriam-Webster. It's hyphenated, so I think you're right that it is two people. It is.
Yes.
It's the founder. Well, there's two founders. Both of their last names are Merriam, so not sure who Webster is. But it's George Merriam and Charles Merriam.
Ooh.
And I see no one that is Webster.
All right.
George and Charles Merriam founded the company.
Charles.
Oh, Noah Webster was also a person involved, and then he died. And that's pretty much all there is. Oh, he had the dictionary first.
Oh, the Webster's dictionary.
Webster had an American dictionary of the English language, and then George and Charles Merriam, when he died, bought it, and they said, now it's Merriam-Webster. They put their name first.
Well, that's nice.
Yes.
Let me access this website. I want to see his net worth.
Well, you'll have to look up either
Charles
or
E. Merriam, but
yes.
I keep hitting goddamn ads, and I can't.
Worst.
I'm just looking for some kind of number. Estimated current net worth would be 1 to 10 million. Last
1 to 10 million.
Yeah.
That is quite the range.
Yeah, so I don't know. His zodiac is a Scorpio.
Ooh.
If you were wondering.
I was.
Do you keep up with your horoscope, Savannah?
I don't. The horoscope that you played me in the car the other day was the first time I had heard an actual horoscope in probably 10 years.
Yeah,
since high school.
I really do like that Parcast original on Spotify. It's just like 3 minutes and they tell you your horoscope. It's like, all right, I can vibe with that.
Yeah.
Oh, Mercury's in retrograde. That makes sense. Things have been wacky.
Things have been wacky. I said that to my coworkers. There was a day I was like, it's a full moon and Mercury's in retrograde. They were like, what? What does that mean?
I didn't even know what Mercury in retrograde meant, but I looked it up and I'm pretty sure it means like during Mercury's orbit, there's a point where it kind of looks like it's going backwards.
Yeah,
Kind of like a little
because it moves
loop.
faster than us.
Or something, and so that means it's in retrograde and does it 3 times a year.
Yeah, and when that happens...
And this one has been a hell.
It's over now.
Yeah, I know, it has been. It had been hell.
It was at the time.
It was hell at the time.
For those 2 weeks.
Yes.
Because it happens for a long time.
It
lasts for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But you can ask nurses and teachers, like, if it's a full moon or if Mercury's in retrograde, like, we know about it before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll get to work some days and it's like noon and I'm like, is it a full moon? And I'll look and it is a full moon that day.
That's because it's all real.
It is.
Our bodies
Come
are
spend a day in my classroom if you don't believe.
Our bodies are 70-something% water. The moon moves entire oceans. You think it doesn't have an effect on us?
Yeah.
There we go. We proved
r/shower thoughts.
What's it called? Astrology.
Yes.
Well, I guess astrology is the whole study of stars in general.
Yeah.
Horoscopes are real. You heard it here first.
Well,
folks.
I didn't say that. I said full moons are real, as in they affect children.
But yeah, I'm a Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
Yes.
That's nice. The hard G.
Yes.
Sagittarius.
That's how I say it. I had one of my friends, shout out Emily, read. So this is my entire birth chart. My sun is Sagittarius. My moon is Libra. My Mercury is Capricorn. My Venus is Scorpio. My Mars is Virgo. My Jupiter is Capricorn. My Saturn is Aries. My Uranus is Aquarius. My Neptune is Capricorn. And my Pluto is Sagittarius. And my rising sun is Sagittarius.
See, like all of that.
I don't know what any of that means.
It's like where the planet or the is in like terms of the constellations.
Yeah.
Like,
But that's like very specific to me. That's like exactly
Yeah.
the date and time and location you were
the
born.
5th or the 6th.
It's the 5th.
Your birth certificate day or your
I
actual
got
day?
it updated,
Oh,
Savannah.
good.
Okay, it was a typo on the birth certificate that the hospital gave our parents.
Yes.
But
For a long time, we've always known Tony's birth. Have you told this story before?
I don't think I have.
I listen to a lot of the podcasts, but there are a lot of episodes.
This will be the 23rd episode, I believe.
Whoop, whoop.
It's the
So
Jordan
excited.
year.
The Jordan year.
Yes. I think we said that on the last podcast too, but this one's the Thanksgiving special, so I'm posting this one first.
Ha!
So the next
Excellent.
podcast will be wrong, and
It's
it is
a
the
lie.
24th.
Yes, that one's the 24th. I'm the 23rd.
Yes.
But we always knew Tony's birthday was on December 5th,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom was signing him up for baseball one year, and they needed his
7th grade.
What was it really 7th grade?
It was.
So he was like 13, and they said, oh, we need a birth certificate to sign him up for baseball. And so she pulls out his birth certificate and it says December 6th. And so then we figured out that Tony's whole life was a lie.
Exactly. And then I got deported and it was awful.
He did. Back to the motherland of, where are we from? Germany?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Canada. The Sharon province.
Oh.
It's kind of near Bavaria.
You did talk about this on the last podcast.
That's where the name Shire comes from.
Oh.
We'll go see Max.
Oh, Max. Shout out Max.
Shout out Max. He lives near Bavaria, I believe.
Interesting.
He went to like a Bavarian university.
Yes. I did know that.
But yes, my birth bracelets and everything said the 5th, and my birth certificate said the 6th, and so I had to get a special copy from the hospital in Texas, shipped out here. And then I had to go to the DMV, and I was like, went up to the guy, and I was like, hey, I need to get a new license. He's like, oh, is yours expired? I'm like, no, my birthday's wrong. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it says the 6th, but it's the 5th. He's like, oh, did you just get it? I'm like, no, I've had it for a few years.
Yeah, I just finally updated my birth certificate.
And then I had to tell him the whole story. He's like, wow, that's weird. And I was like, he's like,
Yep.
that's the first time that's ever happened. I was like, yay.
Probably not. Maybe for him.
For him, I assume. I assume it's probably happened at least
He
once
lied
before.
to you.
He did. He made me feel
special.
special. I tipped him $300 for saying that.
At the DMV.
Exactly. You're supposed to tip them, aren't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
$300 I think is like standard.
Standard. It's like the 20% of restaurants.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you usually tip at a restaurant?
20%.
20, even if the service is kind of bad?
If the service is not great, I think about what part of the service was not great. Like if it was that the food took too long or like the food wasn't good, then like that's not the server's fault. But if it's like the server, I'm watching them stand behind the bar on their phone and like haven't had a refill, or you know, if there's no one in the restaurant and they're not paying attention to my table when we need things, then I'll go down as low as like 15%.
Ooh. See, I wish it was more like the UK, where it was like you can tip if it's like really good, but it's not expected to tip.
Right.
Because like I always tip 20% just because like even if the service is bad, it's just like because it's just like that's part of their pay.
It is all of their pay. Yeah.
It's just weird. Like, and I feel like a shit person. Like, because theoretically, if they're just the worst waiter ever, you shouldn't have to tip. Like if they're like just being a piece of shit and like stuff, it's like I would still tip 20% probably just because I feel like I have to.
Most of the time I do, and then you can also kind of tell like if someone's just like having a bad day or an off day, or if they're just like a horrible server.
I don't think I've ever really had like a just terrible, like rude, like bad server.
I've never had a rude server, but I've definitely had servers that I've seen like I'm sitting there with like no drink. I'm sitting there like looking at them because I need something, and they're just like they have no idea what's going on, like just playing on their phone.
Yeah.
So it's like, you don't know. I mean, like maybe they're handling like a family emergency, but I generally am like in the 18 to 20% range.
I feel like it like at restaurants, I always try to be very, very polite, like as a guest too, and I feel like that reflects it also. Like if you're a piece of shit guest, the server is not going to be near as nice to you.
For sure.
Like unless they're a really good server. Like if they're a normal person, they're probably going to get frustrated and like not be on their A game. But like I just always am at least I like to think that I'm very nice to servers and stuff.
Are.
So maybe that's probably why I haven't really had terrible service.
Yeah. Well, I waited tables for like a year, and I like even if a table was
Where'd you wait tables at?
Champy's.
Oh shit! Yeah, I don't know your life at all.
Literally, my entire
you're just kind of
year.
someone who comes
I'm
to
just
the house
around. Yes. Yeah. We I worked there for a year, and I tried to be nice, like, regardless of whether a table was being mean to me or not, because it was, like, I knew that my tip was going to be, especially if they were being, like, a snotty person, I'm like, they're literally watching my every move to see if they're going to tip me. Like, they're trying to find a reason to not tip me.
Yeah.
And you can tell, like, when it's someone who's, like, trying to find a reason to not leave a tip, or, like, there's just someone that comes in and you just know they're not going to leave a tip. Then it's just kind of like whatever. But the restaurant I was at was like local, and we were trying to like give it a good name so people would come back and have people come with them and stuff. So I tried, and then
still failing as a restaurant.
Very possibly. I don't know. I mean,
think it's open like 2 days a week now.
Oh, that's sad.
This is a really bad location.
It is, yeah, but it was like for what they could afford, I think, in Athens. So if you're ever in Athens, go to Champy's famous fried chicken on Baxter Street. It is delicious. it'll change your whole life.
I remember when I worked at Pizzeria Zuri, like in the kitchen, people like there would be like servers would be very upset. 'Cause they'd be like, "Yeah, I just got 0 off at 12 top and stuff like that." 'Cause it's just these people just like don't tip. And even when like they were like, "Yeah, I didn't even like everything was fine." Like they were nice the whole time. They just like didn't tip.
Yep.
There's this one lady. I don't know what she looks like, but actually I did see what she looks like. I can't describe her. I don't know her name or anything. We can't dox her. But she like always comes in and like we made the pizza for her, and like the crust was like a little like dark, and it was still like completely fine. Like that's like happens.
It went back to the kitchen and you ate it immediately.
It's made by people, and then the manager was like, "Oh, you guys have to remake this. This person who ordered this is a total dick. She comes in like every 3 days and never has taken the first pizza we've given her." And she like we made her a new one. It was like perfect, and she's like,
"Why would you keep going to that
exactly?"
restaurant?
And she's like, "Is this all the way done?" And we're like, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it is." She's like, "Can you recut it?" And then we were like, "Okay." We put it back. We like just pretended, and then like gave it. I think she's just trying to like that's her secret like off menu way of getting fresh pizza. She probably makes a blog where it's like, pro tip: how to get hot pizza from a pizza place. Always send it back when you get in, and they'll make it right for you. And it's like, I don't know. She's just a piece of shit person.
Yeah, that's
like
annoying.
It's not made by machines. It's gonna be a little
right
abnormal every time. That's how you know it's real.
You're actually like not wood firing it, but oven firing it.
Yeah, and like it's gonna taste the same regardless. You're not gonna be able to tell if the crust is a little too done or a little not done. I don't know. Like if it's black, then yeah, it's gonna be burnt. But like
you're not gonna send that out anyway.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like when I was first learning the ovens, like when you like put the pizza in, and you have to be like really quick about getting it off the peel, otherwise it like stretches in weird places. And like I would make like pizzas that were end up kind of like oblong and stuff, and then like they'd be like, we might not be able to sell this, and like the server would go out and be like, so the person on the oven's like just still training, and your pizza's a little weird shaped. We can make you a fresh one if you want. It's not gonna taste different. Like 99% of the time, they're like, oh yeah, just give it to us. It's fine.
Pizza.
Because it tastes the same.
Exactly.
But sometimes it would look like a heart because I'd fuck it up and stuff. But you gotta be like real quick to pull it out.
It's like pulling the tablecloth out from under.
Honestly, it is.
Dishes.
You put and if you don't put enough flour on it, you try to pull it out, and all the toppings just roll into the oven. Like, yeah, it's a very pizza dough is a very unforgiving medium. Like if you don't do it right, it just fucks up completely.
Oh my gosh. Well, at Pizza Hut, everything's on like. I guess, I don't know, I was never there when they, like, prepped the dough, but it'd be like if you got a pan pizza, it'd be in its little pan tray. If it was like a thin crust, it'd be on its little thin crust tray. And then you just, like, put the toppings on and you just stick it in the front end of the little oven thing and it just slides along. Yeah. And then it comes out at the end.
How long did you work at Pizza Hut? I always forget
like
that you used to work
months.
There. Okay.
I started, I think, in, like, March, and then the Aquatic Center opened in, like, July, I think, and that's like when I kind of phased out of Pizza Hut because I was making more money at the Aquatic Center.
Yeah. And your friend from our neighborhood got you into Pizza Hut, right? Or was it just
she didn't live in our neighborhood, but she was a girl I cheered with, worked at Pizza Hut, and then
like, you come work here.
Yeah, and so I did. It was great. I ate a lot of pizza.
Yeah, you brought those like they were like the Cinna sticks, but instead of cinnamon, it had a bunch of chocolate on the top, and those were delicious.
Yes.
Those were very good.
I think they still have those.
Do they?
Probably.
Pizza Hut's pizza is much better now. Like, Pizza Hut's still out of the Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut, still the third.
Yeah.
But for a while, it was like Papa John's way top, Pizza Hut, then Domino's, but then Domino's,
really?
like... It was when I was in high school. I think I was a sophomore or junior. They were like, their whole ad campaign was like, "Yep, our pizza's been terrible. We just changed everything." And then they changed it, and it was really good. Now their pizza's like solid.
Oh, Domino's has always been my favorite.
Like for delivery. Now I used to hate it when it was like so puffy because it used to be like Pizza Hut's where it was like really puffy. Like I don't know, pizza was just like bread and cheese. And there was like no sauce. Like it was just gross. Like Pizza Hut's like changed too because we had that for like a Rush event.
Oh.
Like fairly recently, we just had a bunch of Pizza Hut pizza, and I was really disappointed, but it ended up being all right. But my tier used to be Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Domino's. But now my tier is if the Papa John's has the garlic sauce, Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut. If there's no garlic sauce involved, Domino's, Papa John's, Pizza Hut.
Interesting.
Because Domino's has fantastic crust now.
It's so good. That little seasoning stuff on it.
Yeah, I don't know what they put on it, but it's so good. It's
so
like garlicky and
garlic
whatever.
And salty and delicious.
That's like Hungry Howie's. Like there used to be one in Statesboro, so we got it a good bit. and you can like flavor your crust. And there was
So good.
off menu item called the suicide crust, where they would just put every flavoring on.
Oh my god.
And it was really weird. It tasted really good, but it made my mouth numb every single time. I ate it. I don't know.
It was an overload of flavor.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was good.
Oh my
It was
god.
just like too much, but
There was a
suicide crust from Hungry Howie's.
Hungry Howie's that is closed now, but it opened, I think, my senior year in Athens.
Oh, is it closed now?
Probably.
I've been there once. So
Athens
that
has a
Hungry
very
Howie's.
high turnover rate of
Yeah.
restaurants.
It's like
that.
hit or miss, really, with anything in Athens. It's like if the student population goes to it, then it's good. But
if it's downtown, like that's generally a pretty good indicator.
yeah.
But yeah, that Hungry Howie's, I went there like one time, I think.
There was a Hungry Howie's in Florida, at least, was kind of like a CC's, where it was like a pizza bar and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I was expecting this one in Statesboro to be. Then we went in and it was just like a tiny room. And you're
It's more like
right.
a Little Caesars.
Yeah, it was like a Little Caesars, exactly. Little Caesars is slept on. It is.
It can be.
See, my realization with Little Caesars is the pizza is equally, it's like directly correlated to how good it is to how hungry you are. So if you're starving, the pizza's amazing.
I think that's pretty true for like anything, though.
But like, I mean, if you're eating a steak and you're really full, the steak still tastes amazing. Like if it's a good steak, it still tastes really good. And like, there's been times when it's like, I wish I was hungrier, so I keep eating this.
That's
but like,
true.
Little Caesars, I get 6 slices and it's like, I really don't want to eat this pizza anymore.
So, well, you're 6 slices in.
That's what I'm saying. But so I use like
It's the law of diminishing marginal returns.
Exactly.
Hey, Mr. Major.
Hey, Mr. Major, you don't listen to this.
You don't listen to this, but I remember that.
I never had him for any classes, but I added him as a friend on Facebook, and I'll wish him happy birthday sometimes.
He's the
like,
best.
And he's like, thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
You're welcome. But
as long as you don't openly hate Georgia,
yeah,
he loves you.
It's funny how like him not so much, but most Georgia fans will post like, dude, all this stupid shit Tech gay like nerds and stuff like that. But then like during Georgia Hate Week that Tech has, it's like, oh, your arch has 3 things that's a bad arch.
Like,
then UGA
nerds, get out of here.
Then UGA people are like, well, actually, if you would calm down for just a second, and they're like try to be
the 1 week a year we're like stable humans.
Yeah, they like try to be so proper to make Tech seem like a bunch of ruffians, but like all the time, like Georgia Southern students are the most annoying UGA fans. Like they're just the kids who couldn't get into UGA, but are still rowdy enough and wish they went. Like everyone wears Georgia shit there and gets like fired up about the dogs, but they're just like annoying. But UGA kids are still the worst. UNG Oconee kids are the worst, actually. I drive
fair.
Uber in Athens, and I've picked up like there's this one apartment complex it's not even in Athens. It's like Oconee, but it's only UNG Oconee kids who live there, and they're all just the worst.
Which one is it?
Athens Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
So if I pick you up from Athens Ridge, just know that I already have my biases against you because it's all the kids who leave their
got a cool pool though.
People have left their phones in the car 3 times. And it's always been from Athens Ridge. And, like, I legally don't have to give it back to them. As an Uber driver, you can keep anything that people leave. You're not responsible.
Really?
But, like, I get a call, and it's terrifying when you're driving alone and you hear a phone call from the back seat. It's like, oh, no.
I'm going to die right now.
And then, like, it's always, or, like, they'll call their phone because they're looking for it. And then I get a call from a random number. It's like, this is a call from your passenger. And then it patches me through to them. And it's like, hey, my phone's in your car. Can you bring it to me? I'm like, where'd I drop you off? They're like, Athens Ridge. And I was like, okay. And then they hang up. It's like, I don't know where in Athens Ridge.
Yeah, Athens Ridge has like 100 buildings.
And then you call that number back. It's like, this number is not in service. It's like, well, shit. And so, like, there was once, it was like 3 a.m. and it was freezing. I was just knocking on random doors, like, take your fucking, because I, like,
oh, gosh.
I dropped him off in a general vicinity. I was, like, banging on these doors and ringing doorbells and stuff. And I was about to just leave the phone, like, on the doorstep. But then, like, I was like, and this is when I figured out that I could do this. I just, like, held the button. I was like, hey, Siri, call the last person who called me. And then it called, like, the person who was looking for their phone. They're like, hey. And I was like, I have your phone. They're like, yeah. I'm like, where are you? And they're like, oh, we're in this apartment complex now. I'm like, what?
Oh, my God. You're, like, way more into, like, getting that phone back. I would have been like, nope, sorry.
Well, yeah, I was, like, already involved. Like, there was one kid who, like, in the morning, his phone was, like, in there in my car. And, like, cause he was the last person I dropped off at like 4 a.m. and they were hammered. And he was someone who was from South Carolina who was down there for the game. Oh. And like I was like, call the last person I called and stuff. And like, it went to voicemail every time. Or the last person that called me went to voicemail every time. And then like, I was like, call mom. And then like, it called his mom and she was like, oh, he goes to South Carolina. He's not even from there. I don't know who he's with and stuff. Thank you so much for like doing all this stuff. And she's like, I was like, okay. I was like, well, I have to leave because I have to go to another job, not in Athens. And she was like, oh, well, what's your number? I can text you the address if you can mail it and I'll pay for it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And all this stuff. And so I started driving home, and I'm, like, already, like, almost home from Athens. And then I get a call on his phone. It's like, hey, you have my phone. I'm like, yes. I talked to your mom. He's like, you fucking what? I'm like, well, yeah, I called your mom. He's like, I haven't talked to her in 6 years. And he's like, she's crazy. She probably just wants my phone so I'll go home and stuff like that.
Wow.
And because he doesn't even go to South Carolina. He, like, has his own job and stuff like that. And it was weird, and he's like, where are you? I can come pick it up. I'm like, I'm already home. I have a job, like, in Atlanta. He's like, oh, can you meet me anywhere? I can come to you. I'm like, yeah, halfway between, like, where I live and you is here. And I gave him, like, a gas station right next to our house.
Yeah.
And he drove all the way here, and, like, I gave him the phone. He's like, oh, yeah, sorry about your mom. And so I was like, oh, no worries. Like, that's a smart idea to do that and stuff. And he was really nice, and they drove all the way there. But
just, like, in the moment, you're just mad because you lost your phone.
Yeah.
And you have to now deal with this.
Yeah, and it was... I've dealt with that a few times. I try to be a nice Uber driver too, and like I know if I ever lose my phone in an Uber, hopefully karma will get me my phone back. No,
that's kind
I don't know.
Generally how I live my life is like, well, I'm gonna do this overly nice thing that I don't have to do, and maybe one day I will have this favor repaid to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my like second ever Uber drive, it was really annoying because like the GPS was like, turn left onto here, and then I turned left, and it was like, oh.
Were you using the Uber GPS?
I was.
Because it's the worst.
It was horrible, and it like took me like, and I had to like make like a whole 5-minute loop to get back to where I was to not take that left. And as soon as I pulled that way, it was during the Notre Dame UGA game, and it was these like Notre Dame people who came down to Athens and were in a neighborhood like way outside of Athens I was picking up. And as soon as I made that left, they called me. I was like, hey, it looks like you made the wrong turn. What's going on? And I was like, I think there was an accident and it's taking me a different way. And like, oh, well, the map looks clear, but okay. And I was like, Jesus Christ,
like,
I'm going to be there.
I'm coming.
And so that was I think that was my second ride. And I had I think I had like a 4.0 after that because, or I don't know how it worked, but like I didn't have a 5-star. So now I have like a 4.95 or 96 because of those people. Yeah. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. I learned very quickly when I was driving Uber that you do not use the Uber navigation app, that you use like Google Maps or Apple Maps or something else. It was last weekend, I guess, we were at that new brewery, Nofo, that's up on 400, and I called an Uber to leave, and I'm watching the Uber, and if you're coming south to the brewery, you have to make a U-turn on 400 to like get in there. Yeah. And I'm watching the driver come down 400, and then it's like they're just stopped at the U-turn spot, and I'm like, oh, there just must be a lot of traffic or something. Like, I don't know, maybe this guy's just an idiot. And I'm waiting, and then it says, so-and-so has canceled your ride. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, that's annoying. Like, you're the one that's not here. And so I called another ride, and I'm like, well, let's just go wait outside because they were closing. And this random girl's like, are you Savannah? I was like, yeah. And she's like, your Uber was sitting here for like 10 minutes. I was like, what? Like, it told me he was like down the road, but apparently he had been there, and it just like didn't register that he had arrived because I didn't get the arrived text. Yeah. I didn't see him there on the map. So I got that refund.
That's nice.
And then we called another Uber, and he was a real like snotty guy. Really? He was really annoying. He like picked us up, and we were very intoxicated, and we're like, can we just go to Wendy's? It's like really close, like it's on the way, like we just want to go to Wendy's, and like we'll tip you, blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, like fine. So we go to Wendy's, and the whole time he's like, don't spill anything, you better not spill that, you're not gonna spill that, are you? Like going on and on. And we're like, why didn't you just tell us no? Like, if you're this concerned that we're gonna spill something, just say no, sorry, I can't take you to Wendy's. And we'll be like, come on, and you'll be like, no, and then we're like, okay, like there's nothing we can do, we're not driving the car. And so he's just really annoying about it. And we drop off at my friend Lexi's apartment. We all three got out because I said, oh, can you now drive me home? And he was like, no, you have to call another ride. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll call another ride. And I get out, literally press the map, like the button to call, and it's him. And he's driving out, and he stops and backs up. And I got in his car. I'm like, hi, long time no see. Like all like peppy and annoying, because I knew he was like, God bless America. Like, I got this girl again. And yeah, so he was not very nice. I'm like, well, get out of here. Like
I always give like passengers 5 stars too. Like it's just like the same thing with waiters. Like I just kind of feel like might as well.
Unless they like throw up in your car or something.
There was one time when I feel like I was like in hindsight, I was just automatically give them 5 stars. Like I definitely should not have, because like I picked these people up and then I was like, how you guys doing? They're like, oh, good and stuff. And then this one guy in the back just like, fuck you. I'm like, what? And like this is like I'm used to like drunk. Like I drive people around drunk all the time, like my friends and stuff, and it's always just like, oh, fuck you and stuff, and just like I just thought I was like dicking around. I just kind of felt like I knew him. Like I don't know why, but he's like, no, go fuck yourself. I'm like, what's wrong? And like I wasn't even like engaging with him. He just kept saying like, fuck you. I was like, okay. Like just turn the taser on just in case it comes up. But yeah, I probably should have given them 1 star. But the other people in the car were very nice. They're like, oh, we're really sorry about him. He's like blackout right now. I'm like, oh yeah, it's all good. And like, because I mean, they were being nice. Might as well be nice to them.
Yeah.
Like,
if it depends on who called it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if it had been him that called it, that 1 star like would have hit him where it hurts. But
yeah, I think it was a girl who called it, so it was not him, and she was having to deal with him all night also.
Yes,
so I was just like,
you deserve
whatever.
your 5 stars.
Yes.
Which doesn't really make sense to me that we rank drivers, and well, I guess drivers kind of make sense because like right when you call like a ride, it says, oh, Tony, 4.96 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like a 1-star driver, you could be like, nah, never mind, not wanting that one. But with
it doesn't tell you.
It doesn't tell you how many stars the passenger has until you're picking them up, like until they're getting in your car.
But I think like I think it's more like the stars you have gives you priority. So if you're a 1-star person, you get like less priority for Ubers.
Oh, that makes sense.
I believe that's how it works.
That would be the only thing I could see that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have a really bad like acceptance rate on Uber because like when I was first driving, I didn't know that you could do turn off like incoming requests, and I didn't know that you could turn all of the Uber sounds off, which I do now, and it's fantastic. But like, so it'd be like I think it was on a game day, and I was like driving, and like while I'm driving, it's like new request, and I would just like let it go, but then it was just like ding ding ding, and it goes for like 15 seconds, and it's like so I just would decline them, and so now my acceptance rate was like 25%. Which was bad, but now I've like figured out how to do it and just like to accept everything. So it's like up to like 56.
Right.
So I can't get Uber Pro until I'm up to like 80% acceptance. So it's like ends up being like another 100-something rides, but I don't really care about Uber Pro that much.
No, I am officially not an Uber driver anymore because my actually since like August, because I had to update my registration on my car in the app, and I just never did that, and so.
You're not officially a driver anymore.
I'm not. I could not just go drive if I wanted to.
When I applied to be an Uber driver, or not when I applied, but like most recently, like however long ago when I first started driving Uber, I did like Lyft at the same time.
That's
and
what I did
Lyft
too.
was like background check is processing, and so I wasn't Lyft driving. And then every week until last week, I kept getting a text like your background check is processing for Lyft, and it just kept processing. And then Lyft was like, your background check has finished processing, and then it just like I went and looked, and it's like you have to redo a background check, and
because it's been too long.
Yeah, it's been too long.
God.
It just like I don't know what was wrong, but like I just couldn't. I never was a Lyft driver because it was just like Yeah.
It's kind of difficult to juggle between the two because it's like you really only need that if it's like a really slow day and you want to turn both of them on to just see if you get a hit. Because if you have like Lyft on and if you're driving a Lyft and you get an Uber ride and you don't accept it, then that looks bad. So you're trying to juggle like accepting rides from this one, but like this one's off, and then
usually Uber, it's like while I'm driving people, I'll get a ping. Like if it's a busy night, and if it's not, then it's like I doubt like it'll be any different with Lyft. Like
it can be. Lyft is cheaper for the most part.
Okay.
And so like we'll always like if I'm taking a ride, like I'll always check both. But Lyft is generally cheaper like if you're down in Atlanta or in Athens because there's enough drivers. But like in Dawsonville where I live, like Lyft is more expensive because there are no Lyft drivers. There's just like one Uber driver that sometimes comes up here from Atlanta that's like, I hate my life. I'm in the sticks.
like they got a ride from the airport to Dawsonville, and they're like, well, shit.
Yep. Now I'm in Dawsonville. I like said when that same day, no, it was a different day, going to the brewery. I've been there. They've been open. We think they've been open for like 8 weekends, and we've been 6 of those weekends.
Jesus.
So I've been 5 or 6 of weekends I've been there. It's very fun, and their beer is delicious. They have this one sour that you might like. It doesn't taste like beer at all.
This beer that we did most recently, that Wild Leaf Local Gold Blonde Ale, I actually really enjoyed the taste of.
Have you posted that one yet?
No, that one goes up on this Wednesday.
Okay, so 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
When it went up on this Wednesday.
It was so good. I have already seen it. Fantastic. Amazing. But so I just really enjoy, like, they've got all different kinds of beer and the staff is really nice. And so we go there and it's so convenient. Like, it's right there. Lexi lives like 5 minutes from there, so we'll just like catch a ride from her house and go, and it's very convenient.
Yeah, I wonder if it's one of those things where it's just kind of hyped right now because it's new, or if it's gonna last because it's like that's the new thing.
Yeah,
like because breweries are a big thing right now, but it's also the only brewery that's like within 40 miles.
It's the only brewery in Forsyth County.
Like the closest one is probably Jekyll and Alpharetta.
There's Cherry Street in Vickery Village.
Okay.
Is a brewery. I haven't been there, but yeah, that one's not technically in Forsyth County, but it is a coming address, I think. But so there's that one, which like from me is like 45 minutes, like just not feasible. So this one has been nice that it's close enough, and it's like you're not sitting at a bar at Chili's, like you're actually somewhere.
Or good old days,
right?
Where it's all old biker people.
Exactly. So. We like it there. It's like a lot of people our age are there, and the staff is like right around our age, and so it's a cool little place.
Do you think you'll ever move to Atlanta?
No.
You like the subs?
I do. I like that there's no traffic, and I want to keep teaching in Forsyth County, and so I don't want to move further south.
Why do you want to keep teaching in Forsyth County?
The highest paid county in the state.
Is it really?
Yes, for teachers, but also is like the heaviest workload in the state for teachers. So
yeah, aren't Forsyth County schools like some of the best schools like in the country or some shit?
Yeah, they're ranked very high. They are very good schools.
And now I'm unemployed. Thanks, Forsyth County schools.
This has been a message from the North Forsyth High School alumni.
Thanks, whatever the principal's name was. I don't remember.
Dr. Abear?
Dr. Abear.
She's not the principal anymore.
She was just a bear that they gave a doctorate to. Dr. Abear.
Dr. Abear.
And that's why our education was so bad. Like all the other like
a bear was informing all of the decisions.
A bear wearing a really poorly tied tie because the trainer couldn't get it all the way on.
I was picturing like a pencil skirt, like a power suit.
Yeah.
Like a bear, like a giant, like a grizzly bear. Yeah.
I can't do a good bear noise, so I didn't want to like roar into the microphone.
That was probably smart. Yeah, a bear in a power suit. It's a very funny image.
It is a funny image.
I feel like
Think about how comical a school that was actually just run by a wild grizzly bear would be.
There's a horse in the hospital. There's a bear running the school.
What?
You heard that bit?
No.
John Mulaney?
No.
There's a horse in the hospital. It's like
I have not.
It's a metaphor for Donald Trump being the president.
Oh,
it's very funny if you haven't heard it. You know I love my John Mulaney.
I do. Yeah, you quote it almost every single day.
It's been a struggle to not quote it the whole time I've been sitting here.
Well, you've done a good job. Almost.
Until now. Hey, you know what? 1 hour, I'm doing good.
I'd say that is good. And this is a great time to end the Zesty podcast. And thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow Savannah on her Instagram.
At Savannah Jane, 3 H's, 2 E's.
And we'll link it in the description for all 3 of you who have made it this far. And thank you so much for listening. We'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye.